Long form time, guys. Hey, welcome back to Axiom. Let me open with something simple that most people overlook. Before a baby understands words, before they grasp that sound can represent meaning, before they even recognize other minds, they vocalize. They coo, they babble, they grunt, they cry, they squeal. It looks chaotic. But underneath, these sounds reveal the first architecture of human communication. Infant vocalization is not noise. It's not random. It's the earliest version of the same system adults use every day. It's the blueprint. And once you understand it, you unlock a layer of human behavior that most people never learn to read. Because here's the part no one teaches. Infants communicate through sensation, through rhythm, emotion, and internal pressure long before they communicate through words, which means your first language was not English or French or Spanish. It was the language of pure nonverbal signaling. And that language never disappears. To see this clearly, you have to understand why infants make the sounds they make. Each category maps directly to a distinct psychological state, and each one foreshadows the way adults communicate later in life. Start with crying. People assume crying is one signal. It's not. There's a hunger cry, which is rhythmic and escalating, a discomfort cry, which is flatter and steady, a pain cry, which is sharp and piercing. There's an overstimulation cry, which comes in collapsing wave. Each cry corresponds to a different internal state, and each one triggers a different adult response. This isn't symbolic language. It's biological communication, a closed loop between the infant's nervous system and the caregiver's attention system. The loop becomes the foundation of social interaction for the rest of life. Next is cooing. These soft vowel sounds appear when infants feel safe and they feel curious. Cooing is exploratory. They test their breath, their resonance, the space that their vocalizations inhabit. But cooing is also social. Babies coo most when the responsive face is in front of them. They learn that sound creates a bridge between internal sensation and external reaction. And then comes babbling. Ba ba, da da, ga ga. These are not attempts at words. They're attempts at verbal mastery. They're trying to learn how their mouth works and how to use it correctly to produce sounds. They don't even know they're doing it. The infant is experimenting with how the lips, the tongue, and the jaw coordinate. It's motor practice, but again, it's social. Babies babble more when adults respond. They take conversational turns long before they know what conversation is. They pause, they wait, they answer, and they test the rhythm of conversation. That rhythm is the root of language. Words are layered on top of timing, and timing is nonverbal. Timing is primal. It's the first shared pattern that humans ever create with another person. Squealing and laughing follow next. These bursts look chaotic, but each one carries precise information. They signal excitement, novelty, pleasure, overload, or surprise. They calibrate emotional range, and they train adults to mirror. When the baby laughs, the adult responds. When the adult responds, the baby discovers that emotional states can be amplified through interaction. This is the early structure of charisma, rapport, and emotional synchrony. Finally, there are proto-words. Not real words, but sound clusters babies repeat in consistent situations. A grunt when they're trying to do something hard. A hum when they're comfortable. They whine when they're frustrated. This is the beginning of meaning. It's not vocabulary, it's pattern, association, and state. So what the heck does this have to do with Axiom? Everything. Your entire framework is about revealing the structure beneath the obvious. Infant vocalization is the clearest example of human communication stripped of language. Adults think they communicate with words, but most of their real communication is still pre-linguistic. Tone, timing, posture, cadence, breath, micro-expression, and rhythm, they came before you learned to speak. A baby communicates with nothing but these signals and still forms a complete dynamic exchange with the world. That's why infants give us a direct view into the truth, that words are decoration. The real message lives underneath. Watch how each infant's signal maps directly into adulthood. The hunger cry becomes the tone of unarticulated need. The discomfort cry becomes the tension in someone's voice when they're trying to stay controlled. The pain cry becomes the sharp break when something hits someone's emotional nerve. The overstimulation cry becomes withdrawal, shutdown, or emotional collapse. Cooing becomes curiosity. Babbling becomes mental exploration. Squealing becomes joy. Proto-words become the emotional shorthand most people use before they form full thoughts. Communication is not about vocabulary. It is about energy, state, and pattern. Words ride on top of patterns. Patterns ride on top of biology. This continuity extends beyond humans. Puppies, kittens, even certain birds vocalize with intention long before they understand cause and effect. They use pitch and rhythm to shape your behavior. They treat you like a social partner the way an infant treats a caregiver. Nature reuses the same template across species because the architecture works. Nonverbal communication is not an accessory to language. It is the skeleton that holds language in place. So here's the axiom closing punch. When you watch an infant vocalize, you're seeing the original operating system of human communication. That system governs every conversation you'll ever have. It reveals motive before logic. It shows state before language. It is the most honest expression a human ever produces. If you can understand infant vocalization, you understand adults better. If you can read the pre-linguistic layer, you can see truth before someone speaks it. Language begins with sound. Sound begins with sensation. Sensation begins with need. And every layer of human interaction grows from that root. Infants speak before speaking. And if you want to understand people, listen to the things they never say. That is the axiom.